last time, we're able to discuss the different types of forces. So we know that there are contact and non-contact force, and we have different examples. So particularly those forces that are really familiar to us since we encounter them, not almost, but every day. So for example, we have gravity, which is an example of non-contact force, and the different laws of motion that helped us understand the behavior of objects which are influenced by these forces. So we remember that to represent different forces, so external forces acting on an object, we call these diagrams or illustration free body diagram, or our FBD. Okay, so they are simplified, meaning to say we can actually represent them with shapes. So basic shapes. So usually they are in circles or in blocks, and then the arrows. Okay. So our example last time was this book. So suppose we have a book resting on a table. So we know that there is a force, non-contact force acting upon, which we call gravity. Since here we are on Earth, we have a force due to gravity, and we can actually represent force due to gravity as weight, or W, where W is the mass between the product between the mass and the Earth's acceleration due to gravity. So G, which is equal to 9.81 meters per second squared. Now, aside from force due to gravity, so there is an opposing force perpendicular to the so-called reference axis. So we know that we call that perpendicular force that counteracts the weight as our normal force, or F sub n. And considering that this book is at rest, so summation of forces along the vertical axis will be equal to 0, because the object is not moving. Meaning to say, if we were to take the net force along the vertical axis, so this will be, our convention here is up or to the right, that is positive. And forces that are downward and to the left will be negative. So summation of forces Y, we have an upward and a downward force. We have upward, the normal force minus force due to gravity, which is our weight. Okay. Now, since weight is equal to the mass and gravity of gravitational acceleration constant, we can express this equation as, so the sum of forces Y is equal to 0 equals F sub n minus mg. In other words, or therefore, F sub n is equal to mg. Okay? So this is for this example where we have a motionless object. Another way to define FBD is that it's a technique used to illustrate all the external forces acting on a body. Because by illustration, we're able to understand the behavior. Behavior of the object influenced by the external forces. Now, what we're actually doing is called dynamics, because we're studying the forces that cause certain objects and systems to move as much as we are concerned. Okay? Now, say we're given these different situations, each of these have a variation on the different forces involved. Okay? So, let's try to divide these to divide how we're able to draw the different FBDs of each of these following. So if we were to analyze or to read carefully, so we have here 7 situations, and we're asked to draw the free body diagram for each of the following. Okay. Now, for example, for here, for 1, 2, 3, and 4, if we notice, all of these are actually simpler comparison to the last 3. And one word that can somewhat distinguish or set a distinction is the word friction. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, they all have no friction involved. Okay. So if we were to divide, let's start 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So to do that, let me go to whiteboard. So I'm trying to see if the ink will not disappear. Okay. So for example here, so let me decrease the size of the text. Okay. So for example, so earlier we already have an example of a motionless object, but that was on a table. So if we were to draw a free body diagram of an object lying motionless on the floor, so as I have mentioned, we can either use blocks or circles to represent our object. But for example, say we have a rock, okay, and let's simplify the shape of the rock as a circle in 2D. So for example, this is the rock, and it is motionless on the floor. So so for example, that rock is on the floor. And then, since it's not moving, so we know that the forces that would act on the rock would be the force due to gravity, which is the weight, and the perpendicular force, which is the normal force. Okay. Now, since we have here a motionless object, so what would be the different things to consider? So let's try to see if the direction or there are forces present in both horizontal and vertical directions. Now, if you notice, all forces acting on this object are vertical forces. So meaning to say, the summation of forces along the horizontal axis is equal to 0. Okay. Now, since there are forces along the vertical present, let's try to sum them up. And let me repeat, up to the right is positive, down and to the left, so these are negative. Now, summation of forces along the vertical axis is equal to, we have here up, we have the normal force, okay, then downwards is negative, so minus the weight. Okay? Now, another way to put it is para di mo maglibog. You can initially put it, no, you can actually do this one. So, unsay nasa left kay negative, nasa right kay positive. Or whatever is up is in one side, whatever is down is in one side. And then you'll just have to change or to transpose later on. Okay. But it's easier or more convenient usually if uh you just put these in mind. Okay? So now, another thing to consider is that since this object is motionless, meaning to say that there is no change in velocity, no the more no change in acceleration. Okay? So we can rearrange. So this will be the normal force equal to, so we have here the weight. Okay. Now, earlier we defined weight as the product of the mass and the acceleration due to gravity, the constant, which is g. So we can get the magnitude of the normal force to be equal to this same expression, which is m times g. Okay. So we can express the force, the normal force, equal to m times g. Okay. Now you say, Miss, ang pangayo raman kay FBD. But if you think about it, the purpose of FBD is to be able to understand the nature of the forces present as well as know how we're able to determine the quantities or whatever we're going to look for. So magnitude of the certain force. So we know how to balance or set the equilibrium. Okay. Now, that's for number 1. Okay. So let me put numbers. Okay. So this is for number 1. Okay. Now, for number 2, we have here an object in the air is falling to the floor with no air resistance. Familiar? Basically, this is free fall. Okay. So, we are asked to draw the FBD, or free body diagram, for an object at free fall. Uy, triangle yan. Triangle yarn. Okay. So, how are we going to do this? Okay. Now, let's begin. So, let's try to define the shape of our object. Say, for example, still will consider circle. Okay. Circle gihapon. Okay. What could be the forces present if it is falling down to the floor? So, of course, we're on Earth. So, there is gravity. The force due to gravity. Okay. Let's define this as F sub G. Could there be any more? So, we already know that neglecting air resistance, acceleration along the horizontal axis is 0, meaning to say, there is no change in the horizontal velocity. So, velocity along the vertical axis is the one that varies because acceleration is constant. So, what we're going to do here is to get the net force or say summation of forces. Isa raman. So, let's try to find out what is or how do we relate the force or the magnitude of the force due to gravity to the nature or characteristics of the object. So we know that this object has mass. So F sub G is equal to the mass times the acceleration due to gravity. And that's for number 2. Now we're down to number 3. A motionless object tied to a rope hangs from the ceiling. Okay, so we have here. So let me copy. Okay, it's big. So a motionless object tied to a rope hangs from a ceiling. So we already have here an additional component or something added, and this is the rope. Okay, so if we recall, so I forgot how to crop this. Okay, anyway, so if we recall, what could be the force present or what type of force is involved when we involve ropes or when there are ropes present? Okay, so that is actually referring to tension. Okay, so tension, that is or that refers to the forces. So tension refers to the forces that acts on a rope. Okay, if we recall tension, so even say for example muscles, when we have tension sa atong muscle fibers, that could be the reason why we experience stiffness. Okay, tension is force that acting on a rope. Okay, and we're told that So supposing we have this object, we have a motionless object. Say for example, we have a box, and it is tied to a rope hanging from the ceiling. Okay, so from the ceiling. So here, when you encounter diagrams that look like this is usually referring to ceilings, walls, or concrete na kanang concrete objects or concrete, basta concrete. We have motionless object. Okay, it's not moving. So aside from tension, so we know here that we have tension. Okay, what other force is present? Okay, so of course, this object has mass. So we can say that there is weight present. Okay, what could be the other forces present? So since it's not moving, so basically only these two. Okay. Now, what are the things that we consider? So there are no horizontal forces. So basically, we're going to consider the net force along the vertical axis. Okay. So how do we get the net force? So again, summation of forces along the vertical, that would be, we have here up minus down. So upwards, we have tension. Downwards, we have force due to gravity or weight. Okay. Now, since the object is not moving, so we have zero acceleration. Okay. So acceleration is basically zero because it is not moving. It is just hanging the ceiling. So net force, so acceleration is zero. Therefore, net force, or this expression, summation of f sub y, is equal to 0. So we can express the difference between the force due to tension and force due to gravity is 0. Therefore, in terms in magnitude, tension is equal to force due to gravity or weight, or it is equal to mass times g. Okay. So this is the relationship between the mass of the object and force due to tension. So they have the same magnitude, opposite direction. And in terms of representing, so in our FBD, always take note that the arrows represent magnitude of the force. So since we have here equal in magnitude, so the forces are equal in magnitude, so their length, or the uh, the thickness or the length of the arrow, so how big or how small your arrow, so both of them should be the same. Okay, because they are equal in magnitude. Okay, so this is for number 3. Okay, so number 3 refers to motionless object tied to a rope hanging from the ceiling. Okay, so we already done with 1. So this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Now we're down to number 4. An object is being pulled by a rope to the right on a smooth floor. Now, suppose the object is, say, let's just use the block. Okay. So for number 4, let's use a block. So this is number 4. So if our object is, say this is a block, okay, parcel from Shopee, for example, and then this is the floor, okay, it is being pulled by a rope, okay. So if this is the rope, so horizontal, we know that there is a force acting on the rope, so tension. What other forces are present on this object? So this object has mass, of course, force due to gravity or weight, and the normal force. Hiwi ang line. The normal force, we have F sub n. Okay, so it is smooth, meaning to say frictionless. Okay, so since this frictionless, so we can actually consider only the vertical net force or net force along the vertical axis, because since there's only one force acting, so tension lang. So this will be, ideally there should be friction, okay, because in real life friction actually exists. So since it is frictionless, we know that the net force along the horizontal axis is simply equal to force due to tension. On the other hand, the net force along the vertical axis, that would be, so the difference between, basically the sum rather, of the forces acting vertically on our object. So that would be the normal force and the force due to gravity. Then, we can assume that this object is at constant speed because it is not indicated whether the object is accelerating or decelerating, or in other words, the object is not it's not indicated whether the velocity of the object is changing. Okay, so we can assume that aside from being the floor being frictionless, the speed of this object or this block is constant. Okay, so since acceleration is equal to 0, because, diba, if we recall, when velocity final equals velocity initial, it is said that acceleration is equal to 0. So the net force is equal to 0, and then we can express W as mass times G. So again, so here F sub n equals mass times G. Oops. Let me move a bit. So this is how we're able to obtain different relationships and so get the different relationships of quantities of objects, and then the forces, how we get the summation of forces. So usually they are frictionless. So these examples, they involve frictionless surfaces. So we have here tension, and then we have here free fall, and of course at rest. Okay, now let's go first to define what is the forces of friction. So there are two types when we speak of forces forced by friction. So one is static friction. So this is basically the friction or the force of friction that counteracts any applied force to keep the object in place. On the other hand, when we speak of kinetic friction, this simply indicates that the object is moving. Now, for example, we have a trash can. Okay. Here in this illustration, we have a trash can. And if you notice, there are two scenarios that the trash can is in. One is the trash can is at rest, and the other one is that the trash can is in motion. Particularly, the trash can is said to be pushed to the right. Okay. Now, if we have here the trash can is at rest, we can see that the magnitude, so of course we have the forces present along the vertical. So we have here, this is weight, no? Mass times gravity, and this is normal force. So let's say F sub n. Now, ideally, say we have here any force. Say for example, air. Okay? So for example, hangin kayo, no? Hangin. Okay? Say this is air. We can say that the air is trying to push this trash can. And what keeps this trash can from staying in place is what you call static friction. Okay. Now, when this trash can, so when the force of air is less than the force, so when F sub air is said to be less than the force due to friction, then that friction is said to be static. Okay, that is said to be static friction. However, for example, so aside from air, or for example, that force due to the air blowing, okay, when that force due to air, or say someone is pushing, say ang iring, gipush niya. Say for example, na cat, or let's just stick with air. When the magnitude of the force due to air is greater than the force by friction, then that force due to friction is said to be kinetic friction. And then that means by magnitude, so by magnitude man, so the air is force due to the air is greater than the force due to friction. That's why the trash can will accelerate to the right. Meaning to say, when we speak of accelerate to the right, the velocity will change. Velocity changes. Okay, to the right. Then always remember the direction of force by friction, or force of friction, is opposite to the applied force. Okay. So this is force of friction counteracts applied forces. Okay. So that's basically the definition of force of friction. Now, let's go back to our three remaining examples. Okay. Let's look at here. So, we have three remaining examples which already involves friction. So, let's move at the side of the board. Now, for number 5, it is said that we have an object being pulled by a rope to the right on a rough floor with friction at constant speed. Now, here, we have pulled by a rope to the right. Okay. Say for example, we have a box. And then we have, so this is the floor. Okay. Then of course we have a rope horizontally. Assume that's perfectly horizontal. So we know that there is tension, force due to tension. Then aside from that, we have force due to gravity. And then we have the normal force. And then rough fluoride friction. So there is a force trying to hold this, this object or this box. And because the box is moving, so what type of force do you think is acting? Force by friction. What type of force by friction do you think is acting on this object? So we know that the object is being pulled at constant speed. So take note, this is at constant speed. So basically the object is moving. And because the object is moving, so that force of friction is basically kinetic. Okay, so this will be F sub K. Now let's try to get the net forces. So summation of force along the horizontal is equal to, we have here force due to tension minus the force kinetic friction. And then aside from that, let's get the net force along the vertical. So we have summation of forces along Y. Up is positive, down is negative. So we have the normal force minus W. And again, W is mass times the gravitational constant due to acceleration. So here, let's try to look at the definition or our assumption that this object is at constant speed. Because it's at constant speed, what happens to the acceleration? So acceleration is equal to 0. So because acceleration is equal to 0, net force is equal to 0 as well. So this will be 0 is equal to T minus F sub K. And of course, it's not accelerating along the vertical axis as well. So this will be 0 equals F sub N minus M times G. Then rearranging, so this will be F sub N equals mass times G. Then for the net force along the horizontal axis, so we have here the magnitude, therefore, of, say, the magnitude of our tension or force due to tension is equal to the force due to friction. So we have here T is equal to force due to kinetic friction. Okay. Okay, so this is for number 5. This is for number 5. Okay. Now we're down to the last 2. So let me copy this one. I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay, there. Let me pause the recording for a while.